Womp, womp, womp. That didn't go as planned.
At all.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Natalie here. And today we're excited because we're going to give y'all some behind the scenes on the property that we picked in March. But there's also some other news that we're going to share with y'all that might surprise some of you. But we're going to give you some behind the scenes, share some of our thoughts on some of the properties and things that we went through throughout this process. And then we have a big update for you. And if you haven't already, I would highly recommend you go check out the video where we show which property we picked and put an offer in March. And we'll have that one linked on the screen here. It's on our other channel, Our Brown Farmhouse. You should look for this thumbnail. And then whenever you go there, I would say watch that one first before you watch this one. So then that way you have all the context and you're not like, what is happening? But that way you can see and follow along a little bit easier. Well, we're gonna do this a little different because we looked at so many properties, y'all. So Nico's gonna ask me some questions. Nico is my husband, my honey bun, and I'm gonna answer them straight off the dome around the last two properties that we saw. There was the Buffalo House, if you don't recall, and then we also had the what we're calling the Responsible House, which if you watch our last video on Our Brown Farmhouse, you know that is the house that we put an offer in on. But you're gonna get to hear like my thoughts on it. So yeah. And of course, we have to talk about Magnolia Ranch.
Okay, hi everybody. So, Mom, as I look at my postcards here of questions, question number one,
So funny.
what were your thoughts on the third property we showed, which is the Responsible House?
So for that one, it had a lot of potential. Like on when I thought through like renovations, kitchen needs some updating, but I could see how we could expand the home to meet our family's needs. I love the property. That was one of my favorite, like as far as like the land, the trees. I love like the little, I don't know what you would call it, maybe like a little creek that was running through. And you could tell they put a lot of intentionality into mapping out the land. And so I really liked that about that land. Yeah.
What did you think about the fencing on that property?
That one had good fencing. The only concern that I had was where there was the pond. When things got low, we like walked it, and there were other things in the stream. I guess trying to like stop the water from going in different directions. But when I walked it, the fencing looked good.
Okay. And I believe that's called a water gap, which is
Water
like,
gap.
yeah, if you have fencing where water has to be traversed, it's a water gap.
Yeah.
So that's something we would definitely have to look into, right? What about the barns on that property?
Okay, so we had some debate about this, y'all, because I like the older look of the barns and like the wood. I felt like those spaces would be some great chicken coops. I wouldn't feel, I didn't look at them and think like, oh man, we could use this as like a shelter for the goats or like even our cows. But I do think it would make some really awesome chicken coops. They had some hidden treasures in there. And so that was exciting too, since we love to go find like hidden things, and all those things did convey with the sale of the property.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add about the Responsible House that made you and us love it so much that we put an offer
Yeah.
in that was accepted?
It was accepted. We really liked that it was close to a school district that we could get the kids into, school district in Lovelady. And so we did a lot of research, talked to some locals. And so that was one thing for us, especially we want the kids, we like this lifestyle, but we want them to also be able to have friends and not be so far removed that they don't have a social life, so to speak, with sports, different activities. And so that was something that we really have been trying to take into consideration. It's responsible. And so we've made it this far in our journey by being responsible. And so that was another part, financially, like when we looked at budgets and things, it like it's very responsible. And so that's one of the other reasons why it was like, and hence why we put an offer and was so excited when the offer was accepted. Like finally we found the property, just like over the moon about it. And the other thing, we spent some time like in the local community. We like to go to like the Walmart, other grocery stores, go eat to some of the local restaurants and get a feel for the community. And everyone was really nice, very friendly. And so that was something that we also really enjoyed about the Responsible House.
Thank you. You're such a wonderful guest on this show. I'm just playing. I'm the guest. This is your channel. But we then drove halfway to Dallas
We did.
and went to Buffalo, Texas, which was a beautiful drive.
Yes.
And we pulled up to that property. What were your thoughts on the Buffalo property?
So before we got there, I was really excited to see this one because it's just really beautiful. The attention to detail in the home and the pictures, like in person, the pictures didn't do it justice for me because walking through like the living room, the fireplace was really beautiful. The entrance was really pretty. Each of the bedrooms for the guests or children had like their own personalities, and I loved that about it. There was space for us to add more bedrooms without having to like do a full renovation, just putting up some walls. In the barn area was just great for like an entertaining guest. It was beautiful. We were like, man, we could live in here. But it was in a floodplain, or well, I guess
A
answer your
flood
question.
zone.
Yeah. And on the pictures, it doesn't show that. And so before we drove there, our agent was like, hey, just so you know, when I look at the maps, it looks like the land in the back, has some water. And we were like, oh, we still want to go see it. But she told us ahead of time, just in case. We didn't know how, bad, so to speak, it would be. And we're like, oh, well, maybe there's still some more usable land. But when you get there in person, and I don't even know that the cameras really did it justice. I know we threw the drone up to kind of show the different vegetation, but it's like a steep drop, and you could see, like, we couldn't have any animals back there. And so for us, that was like we had to take it off the list immediately, considering, our lifestyle.
Yeah, really love that property. I mean, the home,
Yeah.
immaculate. The barn though, just what an awesome benefit. It was like 3-bedroom, a living room,
Yeah.
a kitchen, a bathroom. Like, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Another shop building, all the dog kennels that could be
Yep.
repurposed into like other things.
That was the Pooch Palace. That's what we're
Yeah,
calling it.
yeah. And then, of course, it's in a floodplain. So that one was pretty easy for us to move on from, y'all. And
Yeah.
then at that point, this is in the months of February 2025 and March 2025. We make it to March. We've looked at a lot of properties at that point. We've been to Magnolia, Conroe, Willis,
Yeah.
Livingston, Trinity, Madisonville, Crockett, Sour Lake, almost in Beaumont.
We did go to Sour Lake. I forgot
We
about
looked
that.
at homes in
Yeah.
all of those places. And out of all the homes we looked at, we made the offer in March on the Responsible House in Crockett.
Yep.
And this is where we have the plot twist
Yes.
that if you saw our video on Our Brown Farmhouse already, you will want to hear this.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all are ready. I think Nico should come on camera for this moment because, yeah, we have a plot twist for you. It's a pretty big one too.
All right, y'all. So once again, my name is Nico. In case you found Natalie's channel before our main channel.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mom.
That's my husband.
We put an offer in on that home in March. It was accepted. We were extremely excited.
Very
At
excited.
that point, our home in Florida had been on the market for 13 months. And it was a contingency offer that was accepted. And I mean, we were over the moon, man. And what happened, man? Let's walk your audience through what happened.
Yeah, so we put the offer in, it's accepted. We go through some of the inspections. We're still like on track. This property was a little bit interesting because it wasn't the homeowner that was selling, it was the child or children
Children or grandchildren.
of the homeowner. And so a lot of questions that we had weren't able to be answered because the homeowner was in a state where they remembered some things, but then also didn't remember everything. And so there were some concerns, but not enough for us to feel like we didn't want to go through with the property at this point. But it was contingent on us selling our property in Florida. And so we were very transparent about that. When it came time closer to closing, we still hadn't sold our property in Florida. And we had like some people who were like, hey, we're going to be giving offers. We're like, okay, we're going to make it like it's so exciting. We're like ready to go. And none of those things went fully through. And so then we had to come to the reality of telling them like, hey, we still don't have an offer on our property in Florida. And due to them being on the market even longer than we had been at that point, they did not want to wait.
Yeah. So one of the things that's been very interesting about the housing market of 2024 and 2025, which we experienced, is that if we think about our property in Florida, it's a niche property, right? So unlike a home in a neighborhood, in a suburb or a condo or a duplex or whatever, it's already niche. It's already looking for a very specific buyer. Then you throw on top of that this economy, the interest rates, the cost of homes, just everything, property
rates.
taxes, insurance, homeowners insurance, all those things combined have made the price of housing for the average American, especially if you're a single income. I would argue you need at least two incomes in this world today in order to look at your average home. The average home in America, they don't make starter homes anymore. Starter home, the average home in America now is over $400,000.
Crazy.
So you need to be making at least six figures a year, whether single or if there's two of you, at least $50,000 a piece to comfortably afford the average home in America.
And then even then,
Yeah.
groceries.
So what we ran into is we actually had our home in Florida under contract 2 times. Both times fell through. At the time we were under contract for the home in Crockett, we had 2 promising people, like they were like ready to make an offer.
We're so excited
One
too.
of them fell through because of technicality with their company, and the other one fell through because they also were a contingency. They needed to sell their home first, and I think they're still on the market.
Yeah.
Okay, so the sad news is what, Mom?
We did not get that house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're realists, and so we were sad, but we're also like, hey, if it's still in the market when we sell, we'll go back to it. Like we weren't like defeated, I guess you can say. But it was like what happens if we do sell? Then what do we do? Because we were like, oh, we have a property now, like we're ready to go. We felt good, but we also understood and respected that like they didn't want to wait based off of our contingency either, and so we got it, but we had to swallow that pill.
Yeah, and as long as that home was on the market, we kind of had comfort that when we sold, it would still be available.
We did.
Unfortunately, it actually ended up selling like 2 months later,
Yeah.
maybe 3 months later. So it
Yeah.
sold. We missed out on the Crockett house. And out of all the homes we've looked at, 20 plus homes, out of all the homes we looked at, the reason we named it the responsible house is because although, yes, we would have a long commute to work, it actually was the lowest price house that we looked at.
It was.
And they wanted $598,000. Then they dropped it to $580 or $585, and we were actually under contract for how much?
$549
Five
or $540.
$540. So
Which
we
did you tell
like
them why that number was significant for us?
no.
Oh, because that was what we purchased our property for in Florida.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
right.
we were like
536 in Florida.
Yeah, like it was like we're like, man,
5 years later to still get a property for that
so
price.
excited.
Like once again, in this economy, and it was a very responsible decision. Although we were approved for far more,
Yeah.
being responsible with our money.
Yeah. And that was the only property that had the trees. And y'all know, well, maybe you don't know, but I love like grandfather oaks and just having those trees for the shade of the animals, but also for me. Like it's visually appealing and it makes me happy. And that property had some beautiful trees. Yeah.
So at this point, it is June, almost July 2025, and we're back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
And now we went to, we went to Warren, we went back to Sour Lake,
Yeah.
we went to Livingston, the home that you went to with Nunu.
Yeah.
We went to Trinity again,
And then,
and then we came out to Woodville. And so far, out of all of those properties I've named, y'all have seen Magnolia Ranch so far, which is the property in Woodville, Texas. Okay.
yeah.
So
Which
mom,
is farther than
Yeah.
Crockett.
yeah.
And at this point, y'all, I am back at work, going back and forth.
So am I.
Nico is also going back and forth from Texas to Florida. Nana is holding it down in Florida with all the kiddos. And so we're like, there's like a sense of urgency to want to get them here even more because the kids are about to start school. And we're like, we got to go. Like, we don't want them to start school and then have to transition. And so
And we missed that boat anyway.
we missed that boat anyway. And so we're at that point, we're like, we gotta like, we just had like we're like, okay, at this point, we gotta find something. And at one point, we're driving, and I tell Nico, I'm like, whenever it's gonna be the property, like it might not even be what we're thinking, it might not even be posted yet. We're gonna find like that property, and we're gonna know when it's that property. And then
Magnolia Ranch
Magnolia
didn't
Ranch.
pop up. I had been watching Magnolia Ranch, but at one point they were listed for a little over $1 million. Then they dropped down to the high 900s.
Yeah.
Then they dropped down to like the eights somewhere. Then they had a big drop to 750. And at 750, that's when y'all saw the video. I was like, Natalie,
He said,
we
"We
haven't
gotta
spoke to
go."
our realtors, we haven't done anything. We need to drive out there and see this property because at
He
that
did.
point, I don't think the sellers were desperate, but I think reality of the housing market was hitting them. If they were to sell Magnolia Ranch 3 years ago, just like our home in
It
in
would have,
Florida,
so it's beautiful.
we would have sold our home
Yeah.
in Florida not only quickly but for a higher amount
Yeah.
than what it realistically is going to sell for today. So they missed a boat, we missed a boat, and we're filming this. I don't know if the camera picked this up, but we're filming this on the morning of October 18th, the day you're watching this video at 6:40 in the morning. So we're filming this. I'm gonna edit it, get it up for you this morning. But Mom, I'm gonna step off the camera and ask you about this one. And we do have other properties we can show. And we also looked at, some of y'all brought this up. What else did we do?
Oh, looking at like raw land, mobile homes.
Putting a mobile home on the raw land, then building.
Yeah. We also looked at some and considered there were some properties that had mobile homes on them, but some of the conditions, it was like, well, we might as well just buy raw land and then buy a newer mobile home if we go that route. Yeah.
Okay, so let me slowly creep away like the Simpson meme when he goes into the bushes.
Homer.
Yeah. All right, Mom. So, Magnolia Ranch, what were your thoughts on that property that you didn't even want to look at?
I did not. Because it's far. So my first thought, it's far. It's about an hour and 52-minute commute with no traffic for me. And so that was like a big, I don't know, because it's kind of lengthy. But the entrance was really beautiful. And as we're driving in, like on our current property in Florida, we have crepe myrtles as you drive in. And so to see that on this one, I was like, oh, this is really pretty. I can imagine what it looks like in springtime. And so that was really beautiful. I really liked the pond and like could see the kids going there, like us fishing, us having family days. And one of the things that I loved is, I don't know if it captures it in some of the shots that we got, but it's a heart-shaped pond. And so like, come on now, that's cute. All of the buildings, so many ideas. As we were walking the property, I like the house. I like the stove. I love the stone wall with like the big, I don't know the technical term for it, and how they have all the trees in there acting as like beams and supports of the house. Is just really beautiful to blend like nature with the stone parts throughout the house. There's a couple of updates like that, not obviously, but that I would want to make. And so lightening up like the kitchen space. I'm so happy there's a window in the kitchen. That was the one thing I did not like about our Florida property. There was no window in the kitchen, and so I was super stoked about that. And then when we were walking the buildings, the outbuildings, so many ideas are going through my head of like, oh, we can do this here. Oh, we can add this there. And the possibility of having a shop. And so like Nico likes to do woodworking. I also like to do those type of things. But then thinking through like having a space to do different projects like arts and crafts or just different things where there's more than enough space throughout this property to get those things done also really excited me. And I love the I don't know, entertainment space where there's like a sink, there's different seating spaces for bars where we can add cool stools, and we love to host and entertain. And so I could just see us having like a big family cookout there, seafood boil, Zydeco music playing, whatever, like having a good time, kids dancing, starting the barbecue pit. Just in my brain, a lot of memories like started to unfold as I walked it. And I didn't want to admit it at first. But I actually really liked it. I just didn't like the idea of driving that far. Yes.
Okay, so outside of the commute, were there any other cons about the property?
The only
Or what?
the only other con that I remember mentioning and like us talking through was the pond. And so in the picture, the pond is full, but summertime, as the pond was going down, it wasn't holding water, and so I wasn't sure like how expensive that would be. And so we did some research to see like, hey, like what could we do to fix it, and then also how much would that realistically cost, or like giving us an estimate so we would know going into it how much that would be, because the pond was one of the things that I really liked about it, but the water, it wasn't holding the water. And so that was a con. And when I say losing water, we know like it's natural through like evaporation and all the other things to be that can happen. There is a pipe that can like help add water to it or drain if need be. And that leads me to one of my other cons was they have a partnership or like a contract with an oil company for the pond and for one of the wells to be used until April 2026. And so Nico and I were like a little hesitant because we're like, hey, what does this entail? What does that mean for us? Is it going to be like stressful trying to get out of this contract? Does it really end in April? So many questions where we're like, we want to see the fine print on this, because we would not want to buy a property and then be in bed, so to speak, or like stuck with an agreement that we really don't want to have to deal with for a property that we're like excited about.
And the sellers were very forthcoming, and they showed us that documentation in fine print. So something to consider.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's wrap up, Mom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your channel. Here I am directing, right?
Yeah.
Let's wrap up. So
You can tell who edits.
did you have a question for me? Nico, what did you think about the with
Nico, what did you think about Magnolia Ranch?
Oh my goodness.
He's so happy I asked.
Thank you so much for asking. I never thought it would happen. I never get asked questions. So, if it wasn't clear in the video, I really love Magnolia Ranch. Mom and I, we're looking for our third home / property. We've done the new build thing. That was Hernando, Mississippi. Our current home in Florida is a ranch style home.
Yeah.
So I love the idea. It's not the first home I would look at, but I love the cabin inspired. I know it's not technically a cabin, but I love the cabin inspired aesthetic of the home. And it's just something new that we haven't done before.
It's cool.
Yeah, And it's not something that I ever would have thought, like, I would live here. But like I said in the video, I felt like I was in Cabela's. And anytime I go to places like Cabela's, I have a great feeling. So it felt good.
Yeah.
A little over 9,000 square feet of barn, shop, and animal shelters, fully fenced,
Yeah.
cross fencing, the pond, already has an ag exemption. I mean, the list goes on. And I would like to add, out of all the properties we looked at, 20 plus properties, Magnolia Ranch, after all the price drops, actually is the second most responsible home we looked at.
Yeah.
Every other home we looked at was 800, 900 in the millions. The most
Yeah.
responsible home we looked at was the Crockett House in
Yep.
the 500s. The second most responsible house we've seen, and it actually checks almost all of our boxes, is also the second most responsible home. Obviously, they started off over $1 million, but like where the price currently is still. So this is what Mom and I have decided, y'all. We film looking at raw land. We film looking at mobile homes. We film looking at other
Yeah.
properties after Crockett fell through.
Yeah.
Although the name of the game in social media is like squeeze everything you can out
Squeeze
of
the-
content, like
squeeze the
squeeze everything
lemon.
you can and make it last as long as you can. And we're very blessed to be monetized, so we could continue to post the homes we looked at and all of that and make a little bit of money that I hope with things around the homestead.
And I'm sure some of you have, enjoyed seeing the different properties and homes.
Yeah.
And so that's been fun to share with y'all, bringing y'all along with us.
We just don't feel right, or maybe it's me as the editor, because it's a lot of footage also. It's kind of intimidating, all the footage remaining
It is
from
a lot.
everything we've looked at. I just feel like I don't want to feel like I'm stringing y'all along on our main channel.
Yeah.
And I want to get to the point. So this is what,
Nico, get to the point.
yeah, right. This is what I want to present, Mama. Our very next video on Our Brown Farmhouse, we just fast forward to current date and we show everyone the property we got.
Okay.
It could be Magnolia Ranch, or it could be a property you've never seen before.
Yeah.
But instead of continuing to take you through tours and all that, which I know some of you would love, let's just get to it. Our next
Okay.
video is going to be us revealing, because Crockett fell through,
Yeah.
the property we actually ended up purchasing.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay,
I'm excited.
cool. So that's what we're going to do. And, well, it's not my channel. You wrap up.
Yeah. And we'll see y'all next time.